Great. So just setting up your practice. Tonight you can choose to sit, lie down, or walk. Just taking a few moments to settle in. And together we begin to feel that natural in-breath and that natural out-breath. If you feel comfortable to do so, letting the eyes close. And just waiting for that feeling of the in-breath. And waiting for that feeling of the out-breath. It takes time to feel that natural breath. But eventually the sensations of the in-breath will come. And the sensations of the out-breath. And as you feel that natural breath, we wait for the body to rest. Waiting for the eyes and jaw to relax. And allowing the neck and shoulders to release. Arms and hands. And as you wait, the feeling of the breath at the center of the body will come. Feeling that in-breath. And feeling that out-breath. Letting the weight of the torso and pelvis rest. Legs and feet. Feeling the presence of the whole body here and now. And the breath. The mind begins to rest in a sensing state of breath and the weight of the body here and now. It waits for that in-breath. And it waits for that out-breath. And you may start to feel the body beginning to rest back. And the mind begins to sense this feeling of resting back. And it begins to open you to that feeling of sensing for space. Wait for the feeling of the sky. That sensing of sound as far as you can in the distance. Wait to feel the horizon. Wait to rest in that feeling of spaciousness. And as the mind rests back in that feeling of spaciousness, that in-breath will come and that out-breath. The presence of the body here and now. The feeling of spacious awareness. Allow your being time to get comfortable with that feeling of resting back and waiting. Wait for the mind to sense the breath. Wait for the mind to sense the feeling of the sky and the open water. You know that feeling of the open water. Rest and breathe here. And when I rest with that feeling of the open water and the sky, it brings me great calm. My heart feels happy when I rest here. I can feel my being beginning to settle. We have time to rest in the feeling of the sky. We have time to feel that natural in-breath and that natural out-breath. You have time to rest back. Just wait for those layers of settling of your being. It's okay if there's still thinking and sensations. There's something else that is here. You can feel that deep listening, that waiting. And in those moments of waiting, you may experience a deep silence within. Continue to wait for that in-breath. Wait for that out-breath. Wait for the feeling of the sky and the open water. And starting to come back to the breath, beginning to awaken the body. When you feel ready to do so, letting the eyes open. And if you'd like to do so, you can come up to sitting, but you do not have to. Welcome, Andrea. Nice to see you. So, I want to continue on the teachings on loving speech and loving presence. When I listen to Thich Nhat Hanh, my whole being just softens. He has such a sweetness when he speaks. He always says the words, darling, darling, I know that you are here, and it makes me so happy. He'll say his loving speech with those little words that are so sweet and kind. And you can just feel it. As soon as I put on an audio of Thich Nhat Hanh, I start to feel a sense of quiet, a sense of peace, and a feeling of any tension that was there beginning to relax. And the goodness of my being begins to be felt again. And he talks about how it's our true presence that can help remove the suffering, not only within, but for other beings. And when he talks about that true presence, for me, he's focusing on that loving presence, that true presence that we all have, that is kindness. So it helps people remember that there's a goodness in the world. And it's when we can start to feel and embody that true presence that it's felt by not only ourselves, but others around us. And it really does have the ability to heal. We know the feeling of when someone is angry and it's in the room versus when someone is joyous in the room. We know the feeling. We know that it's possible to feel the difference between one and the other. So it's so important to do this loving presence practice so that every word we speak becomes an action of peace or love. Everything that we do with our body becomes an action of peace. And it truly starts to heal in each moment. And if we start to cultivate that feeling of that loving presence, you'll be surprised at how beautiful it is and it can be in every moment. So I will do all that I can to give my loving presence into the space when I guide the meditation. I hope that it will help you remember that feeling and it will start to build in your heart. And as you go into your practice, when there's times of silence, your being will look to you for that loving presence. It will look to you to know that there's kindness in the space rather than judgment. So we must start to use that inner voice to help us reassure our beings that we're in a loving space. And I think you'll start to notice more and more layers of settling in your being. Okay, so we're going to continue on with a loving presence practice. So when you're ready, you can go back into your posture of choice. You can sit, you can lie down or walk. Just taking a few moments once again in our foundational practice. The feeling of waiting for the breath. I wait for that in-breath, and I wait for that out-breath. Wait until you feel the sensations of the in-breath and the sensations of the out-breath. There is no effort on your part to try and breathe in. Just wait. If you wait, the breath will come. And there's a deep understanding and trust that if I wait, the in-breath will come and the out-breath. Begin to rest in that trust that I can rest back and wait. And as you wait, you can invite the feeling of the body here and now. If you wait, you will feel the presence of the feet and the legs, pelvis and the torso, shoulders, arms, and hands, the neck and the head. As I breathe in, I can feel the presence of my body. And as I breathe out, I can feel my presence of my body. Resting back, waiting for that feeling of the open sky. That feeling of the horizon. Clouds and the open water. I know the feeling of spaciousness. It is in my heart. I know the feeling of open fields and the earth. That too is in my heart. And when I rest with them, I feel happy. Breathe with the feeling of the open fields and sky. Songs of the birds and the rustling of the leaves. I know what it is like to be in such beauty. It brings me great peace. I know what it is like to see the sun shine on the water. Just rest here in your deep connection, the water and the sky. Rest in that deep appreciation of their presence. How it brings you great calm. There's so much healing in their presence. May you come to understand in your heart the goodness that is here. May you see that you are not alone. There is such beauty with you. There is the strength of a community and a loving presence to support you. May your heart come to know this each and every day. May it bring you great comfort when there is difficulty. May it soothe your being. I will sit with you no matter what. The beauty of the trees and the sky will always be here for you. We will wait as long as it takes for you to remember our presence. May all the love that is within my heart pass to you. May all the healing that is in the trees and the sky pass to you. As I rest in the presence of my heart, may that love be felt. May you come to feel that loving speech. May you embrace and rest with the heart. Waiting for each layer of settling. As you continue to rest in your practice, you may start to notice the mind begins to focus on thinking, sensations, and emotions. That's okay. Help it to remember the feeling of that in-breath and the feeling of the out-breath. Ask the mind, will you help me to wait for that in-breath and wait for that out-breath? And just see what happens. Eventually, that in-breath will come and that out-breath. And if that feeling of spaciousness has started to leave us, ask the mind for help. Will you help me to remember that feeling of spaciousness, feeling of the sky? And just wait. Wait until you see the open sky and the clouds. Until the feeling of the horizon comes back to you. If you wait, it will come. Rest in this waiting state. Allow yourself time to rest in the feeling of spaciousness. It is here where true presence can be felt and experienced. I wait for love and kindness. I know what I wait for. I wait for wisdom and insight. I deeply know what I wait for. Help me to see that loving presence, the goodness that is here. I will wait. Continue to let your being know that you will wait for that loving presence as long as it takes. You will wait. And starting to come back to the breath. Beginning to awaken the body. When you're ready, letting the eyes open. Making your way up to sitting. If you'd like to do so, you can unmute yourself and bring palms together. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.
Good night.